All right, Ryan. So UConn freshman Ice Brady named to the USA U18 national team. Wanted to come on to discuss this with you on this Friday morning, Ryan. And the subtitle underneath had UConn commit Ashlyn Shade missed out on one of the 12 roster spots. I went over this with you. It's good for these girls to get the practice in during the off season. I wouldn't really call it as practice. I mean, there's still games. But I mean, again, that's an accomplishment. That's a big accomplishment for Ice Brady. We can't wait to see her come in 22 uh, on this UConn squad. But I told you, I said, Ryan, it's no need to be too concerned about Ashton Shea missing out on the cut. She still has a year left of high school compared to Ice Brady coming in this year. So again, Ashton Shade maybe still trying to learn, maybe behind the eight ball just a little bit, still trying to learn more of just overall basketball on and off the court. And but no reason for concern.
No, and she'll of course have another chance next year to make the national team, and KK Arnold will as well. So maybe we'll get both KK and Ashlyn Shade both on the same team, both on that USA team. That would be nice to see when they both come in for next year. But Brady will compete with her team at the FIBA U18 Women's Americas Championship in Buenos Aires from June 13th to the 19th. Now, Team USA has won the last 9 championships, so hopefully Ice Brady and the team can bring home gold yet again this year for the 10th consecutive year. That would be nice to see before she comes in for the summer workouts for the UConn Huskies. And of course, summer workouts, she'll miss a couple of weeks, but I don't think that'll affect Ice that much. I think once she gets back with the team in stores, she'll fit right in. She'll fit right in with her fellow 2022 recruit Ayanna Patterson. But like I mentioned on yesterday's episode or the day before, I saw a couple highlights of Brady at the trials, at practice, competing with the team throughout the week. She was looking pretty good out there. I saw where she made, one of the 12 spots on the roster, but she was competing with her teammates, showing off her moves, showing off her good shooting range. So I'm glad to see her out there competing with her USA teammates, and I can't wait to see her out there competing with the UConn Huskies, her fellow teammates for the Huskies, and of course, can't wait to see how she develops throughout the years for the UConn Huskies, hopefully.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out a little bit there, Ryan. I'm not too sure what was going on. But yeah, I do hear you overall. How do you think these not only the summer workouts that we discussed, but how do you think this I really think obviously as long as they stay healthy, I really think this helps out players a lot, their motivation, and it gets them ready even more playing on these national teams for especially going into UConn. And it's just that much more um, of a statement for UConn saying, "Hey, we really nailed it. We got one of the best in the nation again coming out of high school." But I think that when you play, the more games you play in, I think it's just that much better, even if it's during the off season. I don't think it hurts as long as you can stay healthy.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be a morning without some technical difficulties. I saw where I was lagging a little bit before we hit the record button. I turned the Wi-Fi off on my phone even, so hopefully I can get through this episode fine. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely I think a confidence boost as well for Ice Brady. I think it's obviously a big spot. We talked about all these recruits coming in, how big it is for them to kind of just meet the expectations of all the fans, the other coaches, the coaching staff of UConn. I know Gino has big expectations for all the players he recruits. He expects them to, come in and learn the system, build that chemistry and trust with all the teammates and all the coaches on the team. So it's really a big spot to fill for all these recruits. There's a lot of pressure on them, but I think it'll give Ice Brady a really big advantage with her competing against all these other countries and with their fellow 2023 recruits that are going to spread out and compete on other college teams this year.
Yeah, how about the interview yesterday, or was that the day before? I think it was the day before.
On Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah, that I had very special guest. I can't wait for that one to come out. She was mentioned. We'll go ahead and break it to everybody. Fellow 2023 commit KK Arnold missed out on the USA U17 national team due to a concussion earlier in the week. It was my fault. I forgot to mention to her while I was talking to her to have a very speedy recovery, and we hope that she can be at full strength when she unpacks her bags and comes to UConn next year.
Yeah, yeah, I can't wait for her and Ashwin Shade as well. But like I mentioned before, hopefully next year when they both turn 18, we can get them both on the U18 USA team, just like Ice Brady did, and maybe we'll have both 2022 or excuse me 2023 UConn Husky recruits both on the USA team.
Comments time. We're going to get into these for about a good 10 minutes, Ryan, because we haven't caught up on the comments for a while. Excuse me if I repeat and read another one for us the second time, but I'm trying to remember some that we did not go over already in previous episodes. Iva, jersey numbers are always special to each player. Ask any athlete about their number, and they'll give you certain reasons why they picked that number. Waiting on interview with Nika and Paige or any current Huskies. Oh, wow, man, they're asking for a lot now, Ryan.
Yeah, or even one of the coaches maybe, but a current player, a current coach would be definitely a lot of fun and very cool to see and watch, I'm sure. But yeah, the jersey numbers, I mean, I'm sure that for any athlete, there's always going to be a little bit of a story behind why they have the number they chose. But yeah, definitely really special to a certain amount of players. But yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll have to look around and try to get a current player or a current coach on the podcast.
Can you imagine Jason D'Amico? Thanks for coming through, Jason. Could you imagine Phil finally meeting Paige Beckers and he's not representing the Huskies gear? Ha.
Yeah, I know we were laughing about that one earlier. We saw that. Yeah, that's a really funny comment. I can't imagine that because I mean, hopefully we'll be able to get seats pretty close to the UConn Huskies bench, and at least be able to reach out and get a couple handshakes as they go in and out of the locker rooms. But yeah, I mean that would be pretty cool if we'd be able to meet some of the players. And if you're if you're in your Maryland gear, you said maybe you'll have to change into your UConn gear at halftime or something.
Yeah, for sure. How about Jason D'Amico, going back to him again, since we're already mentioning his name, Ryan? He goes on another episode. Now you know what it feels like to be a New York Giants and a New York Jets fan. Laugh out loud. It's awful.
Yeah, I can't imagine being a fan of any New York team. Of course, the Rangers are doing pretty good this year in the NHL. Dropped 3 in a row to the Lightning now, so that's really unfortunate to see. But of course, the Yankees are always good. So I guess you have something if you're a Yankees fan. But yeah, I mean, I know the struggles of being a Cowboys fan this past couple years. The Gators are usually up there in the college world as well. But now that the UConn Huskies women, I love supporting them now. They're usually always pretty good. So I can't wait to see it and be covering the team on this podcast for years to come.
Yes, for sure. I'm just trying to think here. Excuse me, Ryan. Wow, you just wait 1 second. UConn Huskies to face D2 Kutztown. I know we had a lot of different comments come on this last episode, on that episode specifically. I was trying to think of the ones that we did not get to because there were a lot of great ones. I don't remember reading this one to you. Sharon Keall, excuse me if I'm pronouncing that last name wrong. Thanks for coming through, Sharon. She says, I like AZ. However, overall, I prefer Caroline. And Ryan, just let me know as well if you already remember going over these. She says, I like AZ. However, overall, I prefer Caroline. I think she got left behind a little when everyone came back. It might have been the hip injury. It's hard to know.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. It might have been the hip injury because obviously nobody really knew about it until the off season. But I know you guys love Caroline Ducharme, and I do too. I think she's an amazing player. I think she goes very well with AZ Fudd and as well as Paige Beckers. And I would love to see all three of them on the court together, especially in the starting lineup. I think all three of them bring something very unique and special to the UConn Huskies roster, and especially in that starting lineup. I for sure think they can bring a punch, get the Huskies up early. I know Gino likes to hold that lead, have it, get it in the first quarter, and be able to hold the lead throughout the whole entire game. And I think from a defensive perspective, I think they can maybe step up their game and turn all three players, Paige, AZ, and Caroline. I think all three defensively can maybe bring that intensity level defensively step up even more for this upcoming season. But in terms of offense, I think they're really all three offensively gifted players.
Yeah, again, I like to see more on the defensive side of the ball, especially with these higher ranking teams in the nation. I know
Yeah.
it's tough. I know it's tough to play defense against, outside of the conference, I guess we'll say. But yeah, with that said, I guess that's a big point going into summer workouts. I'm sure Gino can't have enough defense, but you're right. I think they're pretty much set on that offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and it's very hard sometimes, even on offense, because Gino runs such a complex system. So I'm sure, they're obviously going over a lot of defensive stuff, but offense, he needs to know, especially with all these new players coming in, the transfer Lou, and the new recruits coming back and the players even coming back from injury. He needs to make sure they're at the top of their game in terms of passing the ball, because if you're not good passing the ball, he's not even going to put you in the lineup to start with. So passing in that complex offense is definitely something I'm sure they're working on a lot throughout the summer as well.
I don't remember this one, Ryan. Grobel. Hopefully next season we will get a full 10 episode allotment of the Geno show on SNY, missing all the extra stuff, practice outtakes, player access, interviews the last 2 years with COVID alterations. Well, unfortunately, we wouldn't know too much about that, Ryan, since we're not local. That would be a good comment for Maria if we ever have her back on.
Yeah, I think I saw it somewhere on YouTube. I think it's an actual series. Maybe we can look more into that and get back and maybe do something about it. But we'll look into that for sure.
How about geriatric 42? At some point in the upcoming season, it might be interesting to guess who will be the first promising players to transfer out of UConn. That's the new reality. Whoa. Now they were switching it up very quickly.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate, but it is really the new reality because we've seen it the past couple of years with Piath Gabriel transferring, Mir McLean transferring away. So yeah, that would be another good episode. Hopefully, I mean I love Ayanna Patterson and Ice Brady, so hopefully they don't go anywhere. But it's definitely interesting to try to figure out because being on UConn, there's so many good players. So I think sometimes these players come in, it's their dream school, it's their dream to play with Gino and the rest of the UConn Huskies, but it just doesn't work out for every player.
And how about time for one more, Ryan? I'm trying to think here. Actually, you know what? Just 12 hours ago. How about this one here? Thank you for coming through, Avery D. I thought Stanford had a great chance to repeat with the roster they had last year, so it's easy to say that about the Gamecocks. But Boston, Beal, and Cook will be a problem if they stay consistent and healthy. At the end of the day, if Ducharme, Berry, and Fudd are healthy and develop this year, they will become great. Edwards and Nika are one minor tweak away from being great players. Dorka and Griffin just has to stay healthy and be confident to be great players. Lou will fit in perfectly. Mark my words, Ice and Patterson will be a great combo with Fudd, Ducharme, and DeBerry in the future. Undefeated within the next 3 seasons.
I hope you're right. I hope all those predictions turn out to be true for this upcoming season. I think that's what we're definitely all hoping for. But I mean, we said it before with South Carolina. We knew a lot of the players returning from that national championship team were going to come back and return for the season. So they'll definitely be up there again, probably the preseason #1 team if I had to guess, along up there with Stanford, NC State, and maybe even LSU, Iowa this year. But I think there's definitely going to be a lot of good teams up there as well. Tennessee, maybe even they were pretty good for most of the season last year. But I think there's a lot of great teams out there. But UConn definitely. I mean, I've been saying it all throughout the off season so far. I think this team they have right now definitely is a special team, if everybody can stay together and stay healthy. So I think UConn has a pretty good chance this year, but there's definitely a lot of other great teams out there for sure.
Ryan, tomorrow we would touch a little bit on the topic of looking into summer camps, summer workouts, rather. I think that there is some big news as we just saw this morning. 3 takeaways. I won't open it up yet. I'll save it a surprise even for you and I. 3 takeaways from the women's basketball coach from Gino as the Huskies continue summer workouts. Can't wait to see that one. And it's all coming up tomorrow, Ryan, tomorrow evening on Listen Up.